And then big round of applause for Bryan Kett. Come on.
Hi. When I moved out here, I wanted to meet people, but making friends as an adult is really difficult. I tried going on friend dates that felt forced, and I tried using meetup.com, which is a website that helps strangers to attend events together. It's like a dating app for people who don't have the self-esteem to date, and that didn't really work either. And I felt lonely, but then Uber introduced Uber Pool. And if you're unfamiliar, Uber Pool pairs up two strangers headed in the same direction to ride together. And Uber saw this as a way to be efficient, but I saw it as a way to make a friend organically. I imagined being driven somewhere and then stopping to pick up another rider, and then the two of us talking and like hitting it off and becoming best friends instantly, and it was gonna be easy. So even though I own a car, I started taking Uber Pool everywhere. You know, trip to the grocery store, trip to run errands, you know, it was always Uber Pool, but it didn't make any difference. Because at that time, Uber Pool wasn't popular. Like, nobody knew about it, nobody was taking it, nobody ever joined my ride. For months, I rode around Los Angeles by myself, until one night, when I was in the back of an Uber, and my driver's phone, it pinged, like with a notification to pick up another rider. And I asked him about it, and he just scratched his beard, and he said, yeah, we're picking up a woman named Kalinda. And I said, okay, and he said, and I'm gonna hook you up. And I said, please don't do anything weird, like, you know, because I wasn't the pathetic guy riding around in an Uber to get dates. I was the pathetic guy riding around in an Uber to make friends, and there's a difference. But he was having none of this, and he took the passenger seat and he moved it all the way forward, and then he pulled over to pick up Kalinda, and she tried to get in the front seat, and he said, oh, sorry, it's stuck all the way up. You're gonna have to get in the back with Bryan. And she walked around the car, and as she did, he gave me this big thumbs up, and I just started sweating. And then Kalinda got in next to me, and I had a reason to sweat because she was wearing a bathrobe and this necklace with these gigantic crystals on it. And her hair was this translucent blonde, and it was styled like a troll doll. It was like straight up. It was pushing into the roof of the car, and her eyes were all black. They were like the eyes of a shark. And it was really unnerving, but I thought, you know, I can do this. I can be friends with Kalinda. But then she just ran her hand over her crystals, and she said, I am resonating at such a high frequency tonight. And I thought, no, I can't do this. And so for the next half an hour, I was trapped in the back of an Uber as Kalinda, legitimately, this is true, told me about how she wasn't mortal. And then she asked me if I knew what she was talking about, and I didn't want to upset her, so I said, yeah, not mortal, totally. And meanwhile, the whole time, the driver kept looking at me in the rearview mirror and raising his eyebrows to be like, this is going pretty well, huh? And so eventually, I got to my destination, and I was legitimately scared, and I got out and I ran away. And I wasn't scared enough to stop taking Uber Pool because around that time, it became a lot more popular. And every time I took it, I'd be paired with a stranger, but no friendships ever came from it. It was just, you know, it was just small talk. And so I swore it off. I said, this isn't worth it. But then, like a year and a half later, I was on the other side of the city. I was coming home late one night, and I felt compelled to order an Uber Pool, and I did. And it came to pick me up. I was the only rider. I was in the back seat, and we were moving along, and my driver's phone lit up with a notification to pick someone else up, and we pulled over. And they didn't get in the front seat, which is kind of weird. They opted to get in the back seat with me, and when they did, I looked over, and my heart stopped because I saw a bathrobe. I saw a crystal necklace. I saw troll hair. It was Kalinda, and she turned to me with her shark eyes, and in a voice that sounded like death itself, she said, I thought that would be you again. Bryan. And, you know, at that point, it's like, oh my God, had she been looking for me for the past, like, year and a half? Just riding around in Ubers, just in a city of 4 million people? Like, it's terrifying. And so, you know, and then true to form, Kalinda began talking about how she wasn't mortal, and I began to kind of believe her. And the driver didn't think this was weird at all. He just thought we were two friends reconnecting. So he didn't think it was weird when Kalinda said, Bryan, do you appreciate wolves? And I thought, like, if you're asking that question, you're probably into wolves. You probably appreciate wolves. And I said, yeah, totally, wolves. And I turned to kind of face the door, and I had to think, like, here's what I wanted. Like, here's someone willing to be a friend. But I couldn't do it. It was too much. It was too creepy. And I looked back over at Kalinda, and I noticed that she had scooted closer to me. And then I watched as she scooted closer again and again. And I didn't want to stick around anymore. So even though we were like a mile from my apartment, I said, "Oh, this is me." And I got out in front of like a used cell phone store. And right before I shut the door, Kalinda said, "See you next time." So on my walk home, I had a lot of time just to reflect upon things. And making friends as an adult is difficult. But being an adult also involves learning about yourself. And this event taught me to really appreciate my alone time. It's quite nice. That's the last time I ever took an Uber pool. But on nights like tonight, when the moon is full, I can feel Kalinda out there in the greater Los Angeles area, just running her fingers over her crystals, waiting to join someone else's ride. And who knows, maybe that someone will be you. Thanks.